Pick up the phone and talk about something. You might call in and register your feelings about Bush, the little guy, going over to Japan next month for the Emperor's funeral. You did know he was going, didn't you? You do know about the Emperor, don't you? I mean, you are aware of the fact that there's a pretty fair chance that the Emperor was behind the Second World War. You do know that, don't you? And you do know that the president is going to attend that funeral for this man who may have launched the Second World War out of fear. Yes, that's the word. That's the word the State Department used, fear. That it would insult the Japanese people if he didn't go. I mean, you might want to talk about that. You might not, but you might. You might wonder aloud how it is that a major city in Canada with 3 million plus people has about 50 murders a year and less than 300 armed robberies a year. You might wonder aloud about that. By the way, that city also has very strict gun control laws, and so therefore you might want to wonder aloud whether or not there's any correlation between 50-some murders a year in gun control and 300 armed robberies a year in gun control and 3 million people. You might question the effect, if any, on our children with all of this circus atmosphere surrounding the execution of Ted Bundy. Can you begin to imagine how difficult it must be for a young parent to tell his boy or girl that it's wrong to want to hurt people, that it's wrong to want to kill people, and then turn on the radio and television and listen to what's been going on? Maybe you don't care. But maybe you might want to discuss that. I don't know. There again, you may choose to waste the time and get involved in gibberish. Or turn the time over to those who do want to get involved in gibberish. I don't know. You see, this is as good as it gets these days, boys and girls, when it comes down to a public forum. Now, you can come before your friends and neighbors and have your say, or you can come before them and make a fool of yourself. Not a damn thing I can do about it, one way or the other. You can sing, you can burp, you can tap dance, you can make noises, or you can make sense. If that is within your power. It's totally, completely, absolutely up to you. Now, no matter what you do, I'm going to get the credit for it. No matter what you do, I get the credit. Good, bad, indifferent. The glory or the shame all goes to me. But hey, it's still not a bad deal for you. Because you see, talk radio is the last place that you can go to talk with someone, to speak your piece. I mean, you can't do it at work. My God, suppose the boss found out what you thought. You can't do it with your neighbors. They don't want to talk to you. Nor can you do it at the club. Hell, they might throw you out if they found out the way you really thought. Nor at the diner. Nor at the corner store. There's no place left. In some cases, these places no longer exist. In others, the people there don't want to listen to you. Now, there's utterly no guarantee that I'm going to want to listen either. Hey, it's a chance you take, you know. I may not want to listen unless you make it interesting. Or unless I sense that I can take it and turn it into a prize-winning call. You see, this is not a public service. Please, boys and girls, do not misunderstand. This is not a public service, nor am I under any dictate to suffer fools or to be polite to you. I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. This is just like real life here. You see, this is how I earn my living, and I take it very seriously. Now, there are 2 other stations in this area that think that they are doing the community a service, and they pay their people accordingly, too, by the way. So, you know, if dull discourse is what you crave, you can check them out. They'll be very polite to you. Very, very polite. One is WEND. I think there's 760 on the AM dial. The other is WTKN. God almighty, 570. How could I forget? They have the Astrolojet on now. And on END, they've got Stuck Harder giving, you know, the same crap over and over and over again in the way of consumer advice to the same Neanderthals who apparently didn't hear what he said yesterday. And you can go and check them out. I won't be offended. I won't be insulted. I know you'll be back. You see, on those reviews I was reading about talk radio, at times the reviewers seemed to think that the crazies and the cranks and the kooks were somehow manufactured by the guys doing talk radio, which nothing could be further from the truth. See, those crazies and cranks they're basically you. Or people just like you. They're very real people who are either certifiably crazy in a handful of cases or just driven to the brink of being crazy by the real world that they're having trouble dealing with. I understand that. I sometimes scream and shout and bitch and moan because I just can't deal with it anymore. Don't be ashamed by that. There are other people out there who are just plain stupid, and they consistently say stupid things and take stupid positions and will always be stupid. And hey, talk radio didn't make stupid people. There were stupid people long, long before there was ever radio. These are very real people that we deal with every day here. And I feel no obligation to hide those who are less than desirable from you. You see, I also subscribe to the theory that you are far, far more likely to come away from this program with some newfound knowledge in your head from listening to the idiots than you are from listening to the intellectuals. I have nothing against the intellectuals, but I certainly am not going to hide the idiots from you. And so far, it would seem as though I've been proven right. So what's it going to be? I mean, we're coming down now very, very close to the point where I have to give the telephone numbers. We're coming now very close to the point where we're going to find out what it's going to be today. Will it be Bundy or Bush? Will it be the Japs or the Jeff and Jeff show? It's a new show. It's a new day. It's a new week. The poor lonely Northerner sits over there awaiting that first caller, the one who will set the tone. Michael and I every day sit here with bated breath, awaiting that first caller, the first one who will set the tone of the program. And someday, possibly someday, you see, when they make a movie about me, I'm confident they will, someday when they're making a movie about me, and some fool reviewer writing for the, I don't know, Palm Harbor Shopper, tries to make more out of this than it is, more out of it than it deserves, who knows, they may actually choose this very show, as the one to put under the microscope. They may blame me for your call, of course, but they could also give me the credit for your call. Now a lot of people say, oh, wow, call up the radio station. Oh, man, I mean, gag me with a spoon. I mean, they have the button. But you see, you really have the power. You have the power to hold me and the rest of the audience absolutely spellbound with your call, with your wisdom, your insight, your common sense, your humor, whatever it might be. You are the one with the power. Hey, let's face it. There's nobody else left to talk to. There is nobody else left to talk to except me. It's you and the man on the radio. You're you, and I am me. It may well be a sad state of affairs, but it is the way that it is. This is what it's come down to. I don't know why. I don't know how it happened. But it's you and the guy on the radio, and there's virtually no one else left to talk with. There ain't no more corner stores. They are gone. They tore down the diner. You can't go there and sit over a cup of coffee and talk over things. Nobody sits on the front porch anymore. Hell, most houses don't even have front porches anymore. You got to be real careful of what you say outside. It could cost you your job or your position in the community. Hell, most of the people in your own damn family don't even want to listen to what it is that you have to say. So this is it, pal. This is it. Let me give you the telephone numbers. 461-9352. 461-WFLA. That number's good in Pinellas. In Hillsborough, 990-9352. 990-WFLA. Pretty soon we'll find out what it is that you want to talk about today.
Hotels. Now you can earn money for every minute you spend in one. Just charge your room with the Discover card. The card that actually pays you cash for every charge. Up to 1% back every year based on your your annual purchases. With the Discover card, you can even earn money while you're asleep. So wake up. It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
Well, it began exactly 1 week ago Friday. It's going to end tomorrow. You can shop it today. That's the news from Kane Furniture. Ladies and gentlemen, the clearance at Kane's will end tomorrow night at 10 p.m. $25 million. Total clearance. Everything. I mean, every item in every department at Kane Furniture at incredible clearance reductions. But tomorrow's the final day, the last 12 hours. From 10 tomorrow morning till 10 tomorrow night, you can join the Value Wives. You can shop it today and beat those crowds. But you must hurry. It ends tomorrow. No extensions can be offered. Up to $10,000 instant credit available. No payment till April 89. You can use Visa, MasterCard, Discover Card. Delivery's free. The clearance. Kane's. It ends tomorrow.
Located U.S. Highway 19 in St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Newport Richey, and in Tampa, across from East Lake Square Mall. You'll also find the same great values at Kane Save-On Furniture in Sarasota.
Ethan Allen isn't just furniture. Ethan Allen is solutions, as Beth Sampson knows.
It's a small, wonderful house, over 200 years old, and in really perfect condition, thanks to a lot of hard work. But now it's my time to turn this house into a home.
Beth's house was a colonial gem, but one she wanted to update. So she sought the help of Ethan Allen designer Mary Kramer.
We chose fabrics and colors that were fresh and vibrant.
I wanted to live in a home, not in a museum, and Mary sensed exactly the look I wanted. Now take the living room, for instance.
Here we mix chintz, damask, and moiré to give the living room a more formal yet still cozy feel.
Oh, and I really love our dining room. Pure Queen Anne, and it works beautifully with our more informal country craftsman collection.
What I love is helping people discover how wonderful a home can be.
It's really our home now.
Ethan Allen, we're not just furniture, we're solutions.
For design solutions by people who care, visit your nearest Ethan Allen gallery and save during their fantastic winter sale. Now with 4 convenient locations in St. Petersburg, Tampa, Brandon, and Port Richey.
So, well, 43 the time. Welcome back. It looks like it's going to be a very interesting afternoon. We have already had quite a ton, a certifiable ton, I do believe, of crank calls off the air, people who, don't quite understand what the hell's going on. And looks like we're starting to build up a pretty fair backlog here of chronic callers. And for the rest of you, I guess you missed everything I said. What a sad state of affairs it must be for you people, being trapped in these little bodies. I'm going to assume that you have minds, being trapped in your little bodies without being able to say anything to somebody for fear that, they might laugh at me. But nonetheless, we will take the first call of the afternoon, which, of course, as you know, sets the tone for the entire program. 3 lines open, all of them in Hillsborough, 990-9352, 990-WFLA, Clearwater. Hi, Clear, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yes, sir. I was just curious about the third station you mentioned. I'm very familiar with your station at WTKN.
Uh-huh.
But what is the third talk station?
I already told you.
Well, yes, it went by too fast and I missed it.
Sir, this is not a public service. Open your damn newspaper and find out what the station is.
Well, I was afraid that's probably what you'd say, but I just wanted to see if you wanted to say anything more about the third station.
Sir, I talk about them constantly. It's not my fault if you're a jerk and can't retain anything that you hear whatsoever. 990-9352 in Hillsborough. Sir, if I told you, you'd probably forget it by the time you got around to going over to the dial and starting looking for it. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. We are off to a tremendous start on our little public forum here. Bill, somewhere in Newport Richey. Hi there, Bill.
Good afternoon, Bob.
Yes.
Bob, last week in the Pasco County section of the St. Petersburg Times, there was a big story, front page, and it's been, on my mind all week. The problem we've got up here, and in fact it was mentioned on your newscast twice, is evidently a woman officer found religion. Well, after she found religion, she
Could we make this a little bit faster? It is a rating period.
Yes. She thought she should come clean. So she went to the office and wrote a letter naming all the policemen that she had been having oral sex with while they were on raid. She said the way this happened was that during the undercover work, as they were sitting in their police cars waiting to make a bust, they got bored. And this is what brought this on. So the point that I'm trying to make is this.
Well, wait a second. You seem to be leaving out something here.
What's that, Bob?
Who was doing who?
The female police officer was doing it to her superiors in the car with
I
her.
see. Well, that makes a great deal of difference.
Yes. But she said there was no danger to the public because they were parked at the time, which, does help a little bit.
Well, considerably.
But the point is this, that sometimes...
I know, I'm sick and tired of, seeing cars weaving in front of me.
You better believe it. Next time you see one weaving, look to see if there's one head or two appearing through the windshield.
Well, actually, I basically tend to just suddenly, when I'm driving down the street, I'm getting old and fat, and I just don't have the kind of action I used to have, so I just now start, without any rhyme or reason, frantically weaving back and forth in the middle of the road. When somebody passes me, I just look over and smile at them.
So these police officers...
Pretend as though I'm petting someone on the head.
Well, the sheriff did the right thing. He suspended the officers in charge. But the embarrassing thing was sometimes religion is a good thing. But I think when somebody becomes a Christian, maybe they shouldn't tell everything all at one time. It caused some embarrassing moments.
Well, I'm very sorry. If you're going to accept sex from me, then you're going to have to live with the fear that I may talk about it in the future. I mean, what the hell? I think it's if you accept sex from me, then I think it is well within my prerogative to mention your name at some point in the future.
Well, that's true. So, anyways,
there aren't a hell of a lot more personal things that you can do for somebody than, if you'll pardon the expression, go down on them.
Well, I know.
And hell, if I'm good enough to go down on you, then I'm good enough to use your name.
I realize that. And, I sympathize a little bit with the lady.
And how does the rest of the audience feel about that,
Well, it's important, and like I said, it made big news here, and it was on your radio cast twice last week. And,
is that all? It's a story like that I would have thought we'd have used as the lead story for 4 or 5 days.
Well, I suppose it caused a little bit of
Got to build those numbers up in Pasco,
Well, I'll tell you one thing. On these long raids, they're going to have to put some kind of entertainment in the car.
I'm surprised they didn't send John Wilson, Anchorman, up to cover that one with a live eye or whatever it is that they have over there.
John Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Bob. I just thought I'd let you know what's happening in Pasco County, but it did kind of make our week all week. It was really...
Dan, what a tragedy. This wasn't the first call. I mean, if this was the call that was going to set the tone of the show, unfortunately, what was I stuck with?
Well, this is a subject that we all understand.
Guy that wanted the address of the other radio station, yeah.
This is a subject I think that we all understand, Bob.
Well, some of us do, some of us don't, apparently, from some of the callers I have. Off we go to St. Petersburg. Hi there, Saints. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Bob.
Yeah.
Man, why do you persist in knocking Ron and Ron?
I don't believe I did knock Ron and Ron.
Oh, okay. Well,
why do you persist in listening to this program if you can't understand a damn thing that's said on it? Clearwater, your turn at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
You had a nice monologue there, and one thing that I did want to address was what you mentioned about Hirohito with his death. I never understood why the Japanese people would mourn that so much when so many Japanese died on it because of his actions, mainly in bombing Pearl Harbor and getting their people in World War II.
Well, sir, you seem to forget he was their god.
Right. And I thought by 40 years later now, they would have had time to look back on that and find out that, we're not going to praise this god 40 years later.
Well, I don't give a damn what they do in Japan. That's their business. But I do find it a little bit bizarre that we're afraid of insulting the Japanese. I mean, what are they going to do, stop dumping their products here?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So what are they going to do to us? We're afraid of insulting the Japanese? Sounds a little dumb to me, but, hey, what do I know? I just do a talk show.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Oh, anytime there. Let's see here. Well, we don't really have a hell of a lot of choice, do we? Line 7, which would be, I'll tell you what, let's check in with the news department. They probably got 8 or 9 minutes worth of news brief to do. And then we'll see what happens. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Bud Ellis. Charlie Davis? Great. Charlie Davis standing by with a WFLA news brief. Charlie.
While reporters crowd around the state prison in Stark, lawyers for Ted Bundy try yet another appeal to keep their client out of the electric chair tomorrow morning. A couple of important Supreme Court rulings today. One is a setback for affirmative action. Another settles a Pasco County case involving marijuana and the right to privacy. And Tampa police managed to convince a man to talk to doctors instead of shooting himself. Details at 1 o'clock. Charlie Davis, News Radio 970 WFLA.
Excuse me.
Yes?
What
this Peerless Faucet Save and Style rebate?
Well, I'll relate that all Peerless Designer and Demixo faucets now come with an $8 rebate.
Well, that's
a great rate on stylish do-it-yourself faucets that accentuate.
Could you just
illuminate that the quality of these faucets is first-rate?
Well, then there's no debate.
That the Peerless $8 rebate
is great.
So don't wait.
Because Peerless Faucet Save and Style rebate
ends February 27.
You mean 28?
That's the date.
Don't be late.
I won't.
Guess what's missing from these new special request soups from Campbell's? Bean with bacon.
I give up.
Vegetable beef. Can't tell. And chicken with rice. Got me. So what's missing? A third of the salt. Campbell's special request soups have 1/3 less salt than our regular soups. Now in 8 varieties that make you feel good.
That's what Campbell's soups are. Good.
Tough winter colds. Here's how New England fishermen keep going.
When I catch a cold, it's a tough one, and the only thing that seems to help me is Alka-Seltzer Plus. I get aches and pains, runny nose, nasally, and Alka-Seltzer Plus works every time.
When I get a cold, my head feels like it's 3 feet thick. Alka-Seltzer Plus helps break through, helps me get back on my feet.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter colds. Use as directed.
In a word, it works.
Want to know about imitation hoods, doors, and fenders? Ask a body shop owner.
Guy came by today trying to sell me copycat hoods, doors, and fenders for GM cars. But I wasn't buying because I know some of these imitations don't come up to GM specs for fit, finish, and corrosion protection.
So remember, even if insurance is paying the bill, it's still your car and your choice. Ask to see your repair order and insist on genuine General Motors parts.
Would you work for your uncle? Take it from me. Your uncle is a great employer. I mean your Uncle Sam, the federal government. Uncle Sam can do big things for your career, like a salary from $11,000 to over $70,000 a year. Right now, Uncle Sam is hiring more than 20,000 people a month. For information on how to get a federal job, subscribe to the Federal Jobs Digest. It worked for me.
The Federal Jobs Digest is a privately published newspaper that tells you about thousands of immediate civil service openings. These include jobs without tests in your area. You see exactly how to apply for each job. A 6-issue subscription costs $29. Money back if you're not satisfied. To subscribe to the Federal Jobs Digest by credit card or COD, call now 1-800-543-8000. Again, 1-800-543-8000.
Your uncle is hiring. Join the family.
At News Radio 970 WFLA, Gardner & Company takes it to the streets every Thursday morning. In recent weeks, we've saluted Tarpon Springs, Brandon, Clearwater, Plant City, Ruskin, Dunedin, Riverview, and St. Petersburg Beach, just to name a few. In the weeks and months ahead, we'll be saluting your community up close and personal. Listen to Gardner & Company and come on out and say hi when we visit your community as we take it to the streets. And remember, you'll always hear news every 15 minutes on Gardner & Company on News Radio 970 WFLA.
I cannot wait until they bring their show to salute my community. I want to see that silly-looking red van sitting in Burns' parking lot at 4:30 in the morning. Sarasota, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it Bob?
That's right.
Oh, hi, Bob.
Hi.
Yeah, long-time intense listener and first-time caller, and I wanted to respond to the forum you set out that talk radio is fast becoming the last open line of communication.
No, it's not fast becoming, sir. It is, period.
There seems to be, I don't know, I think perhaps the reason for it is that, let me turn the radio off here.
Great idea. It's what they told you to do 3 minutes ago.
General, 2 reasons that I see it. One being cyclical, and the other being the disenfranchisement of the common man to have an open forum to talk to.
That's his own fault.
Pardon?
His own fault.
Ah, darn, I'm getting bad reception here. Let me move over here just a sec. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, but I'm going to have to go.
I can't hear you. There's something wrong with the phone. I'll try and call you back.
Okay, great. We look forward to that. St. Petersburg, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello, Bob?
Yeah.
Hey, tell me, which talk show host do you think is the most popular right now is between Pat Sajak and Arsenio Hall? You there?
For the moment. I don't know, ma'am.
You don't know?
No.
You think Morton Downey Jr. is more popular than those two?
I don't think they do the same thing, ma'am. You know, you're asking me to compare apples and oranges.
Well, Pat Sajak's on for 90 minutes, you know. And I haven't watched him too much, but I was just wondering if he's good enough to make it next season.
I don't know, ma'am. I don't watch too much television.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, anytime now. Clearwater, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yeah, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, about this Bundy discussion you guys are having. You guys say that he's a criminal and he's been receiving...
I beg your pardon. You know, don't you guys me. I speak for myself. The other people I will assume speak for themselves. So.
Well, your radio station was having a discussion then.
Well, you know, if you would like to discuss it with me, great. But don't lump me in with anybody else, please. That's really insulting.
All right. Well, what are your views on it?
What are my views on what, sir?
On the Bundy. If you want him to die, or what do you want to do with him?
What do I want to do with him? I want to make sure that he doesn't kill anybody, sir. That's, you know, in the future.
Okay. All right, well, thanks.
Did you think that I would have some other kind of a view, sir? Did you think that I would, you know, like to let him out on the streets again to kill people?
Oh, no, I didn't.
So why in the name of God did you call me up and ask me such a dumbass question? I mean, is that the best you can do? Are you a product of the school system in the state?
No, I'm not.
Which state are you a product of the school system of?
Bahamas?
The Bahamas?
Yeah.
In the Bahamas, they teach you to ask stupid questions?
No, only when I listen to radio stations like this.
Oh, only when you listen to radio stations like... What does that mean?
I don't know.
Do you know anything?
Not really.
I didn't think so. I really didn't. John Eden, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yeah, this execution, man, it's got people running around like chickens with their heads off, man.
Uh-huh.
I mean, what's the big deal? It's just a death, right? The death, everybody dies unless I'm mistaken. Am I correct? Everybody dies, so what? It looks like Bundy's got the big show here. He's the one that's winning.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, I don't understand the big deal, man. Everybody dies. I mean, according to you, when you die of old age, long life, I hope, you and Bundy, according to you, are going to the same place.
No, sir, I don't believe I've ever said anything of the kind.
Well, you're not religious.
Well, that's exactly it, sir. I'm not going anyplace. Or hadn't that ever dawned on you?
Well, that's opinion. I mean, that's, you know, it's possible. I'll give you credit for that.
So then why did you say I was going someplace when I've clearly said so often I'm not going anyplace?
Because I believe that it's not you really don't have much choice in the matter.
What do you mean, sir? You made a definitive statement. You say that you're going to the same place. I'm not going anyplace, sir. That's what I've told you over and over again. So why are you trying to put words in my mouth? If you want to go someplace, that's cool with me. But don't say that I'm saying I'm going someplace. I've never said any such thing, sir.
You really believe that?
Sir, what do you mean do I believe it? It's what I've said.
So
you what I believe Bundy, I said. It's what I know I've said.
You and Bundy are not going to anywhere after you die.
Nobody's going anyplace, sir. There's no proof
Bundy's
whatsoever.
Not going anywhere.
There is not a hint that anybody's going anyplace, sir.
Bundy's not going anywhere. Hitler isn't going anywhere, and you're not going anywhere.
Sir, there is not a shred of evidence to indicate that anybody goes anyplace. You hope you're going someplace. You want to believe you're going someplace. That's cool with me, sir. I can live with that. You know, I got my own fantasies, too. You know, they involve basically Linda Ronstadt and Demi Moore coming over to the house. But that's beside the point. It doesn't really have anything to do with religion, although I do, you know, use the word God a great deal during the fantasy. But sir, just because you want to believe you're going someplace doesn't mean there's someplace to go.
So Hitler, Bundy, and you are not going anywhere after you die.
Ain't nobody going no place, sir, because there ain't no place to go.
There isn't.
No, sir. You just hope there's someplace to go.
No heaven or hell. Hitler, Bundy, and you are...
Sir, even Tim Cole.
Your Learjet is coming. To News Radio 970 WFLA. Details soon on the fantasy of a lifetime. It could be yours.
News Radio 970 WFLA.
afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. I'm Charlie Davis, News Radio 970 WFLA. The news brought to you by Pinellas County's Sunstar Ambulance Membership Plan. Don't wait for an emergency. Join now. Unless something changes in court, this may be Ted Bundy's last day on death row.
Convicted serial killer Ted Bundy is spending what could be the last day of his life in a small cell here at the Florida State Prison, not more than 50 feet from the electric chair, where he's due to be strapped in at dawn tomorrow for his execution. Bundy is scheduled to die a decade after being convicted of the murder of a 12-year-old Northern Florida schoolgirl. He has won 3 stays of execution since 1986, but time is running out for Bundy's attorneys to win a reprieve. They're scrambling to win an 11th-hour appeal by trying to prove that Bundy is insane. Florida law prohibits the execution of insane people. Bundy, meanwhile, has confessed to more than a dozen additional murders to a variety of law enforcement officials from other states. Rod Navius at the state prison, Stark.
The Supreme Court has ruled against an affirmative action program from Richmond, Virginia, in an action that has implications far beyond Richmond. The ruling was 6-3. The opinion, written by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, says that a set-aside program which reserved 30% of construction jobs for minority businesses is unconstitutional, not only because it discriminates against whites, but because Richmond failed to demonstrate that it was rectifying past discrimination. In another decision, the High Court split 5-4 on a key matter of privacy. Ruling in a Pasco County, Florida case, the justices decided that it's not a violation of right to privacy for police to look around for marijuana plants in residential backyards by hovering above the neighborhood in a helicopter without a warrant. Jim Green of the Florida ACLU sees it as a bad sign.
We see it as a disturbing trend on the part of the U.S. Supreme Court to curtail individuals' rights to privacy. And the right to privacy is one of our most cherished rights.
The case began in 1984 when Michael Riley was arrested after a helicopter found 44 marijuana plants growing in a greenhouse behind his home. A Tampa man threatening suicide gets talked out of it. That story's next. 102 on News Radio 970 WFLA.
Here in Pinellas, we have one of the most advanced emergency medical services programs in the nation. In conjunction with your local fire department, the county's ambulance provider, Sunstar, combines state-of-the-art technology with the skills of highly trained paramedics to assure the fastest response and most complete care available, which is good news. Since studies estimate that this year almost 70,000 people in Pinellas, that's 1 in 12, will need ambulance service. The bad news is many insurance policies, including Medicare, don't cover 100% of the cost, leaving you responsible for the balance. There is a solution. Pinellas County's Sunstar Ambulance Membership Plan. When you join the Sunstar Plan, any uninsured portions of your family's ambulance bills will be paid. Annual membership is affordable, just $60 per household, but you must join before March 31st. So don't wait. Call Sunstar today at 462-3100. The Sunstar Ambulance Membership Plan. Join now, because you never know when you'll need it.
After holding Tampa police at bay for most of the morning, 21-year-old Michael D. Cummings came out of his house at 3505 East 33rd Street. He'd been threatening suicide.
Well, I think he was afraid, and obviously he's got some, psychiatric problems, and he just had some problems, and he needed somebody to talk to.
Tampa police spokesman Steve Cole says Cummings will not be charged with anything. He's being taken in for medical attention. Jury selection is now underway in the Hillsborough Trial of Irvin Riley, accused of being the triggerman in the death of prostitute Kim Hanlon. Hanlon's body was found last year, dismembered and stored in the home freezer of James Bailey. He's been sentenced to life in prison. Trial continues today in the case of the so-called EJ Gang, 4 young men accused of attacking people during a crime spree, attacks that included former Hillsborough State Attorney E.J. Salsinas. And trial has been set for March 13th for a Florida State trooper charged with the shooting death of a North Tampa man. The Bay Area mourns one of the world's great artists. 970 WFLA's Sharon Parker has more.
Salvador Dali has been called a genius, a man whose surrealist images have influenced artists for nearly a century.
His style, his technique, everything was so groundbreaking all the way through his life that we know that legacy will always remain.
Sally Eilerson of St. Petersburg's Dali Museum adds that it's difficult to measure the impact Dali's death will have on the museum, which has just opened a collection of photos of the artist Dolly died early this morning at his home in Figueres, Spain. He was 84. In St. Petersburg, Sharon Parker, News Radio 970 WFLA.
The Wall Street Journal report with Joan Furstenberg is brought to you by Kemper Insurance.
The chairman of the Federal Reserve Board says the Fed will do everything it can to control inflation. But Alan Greenspan also told the board of the National Association of Home Builders in Atlanta today that the Fed must inject enough money and credit into the economy to support growth while easing price pressures. Greenspan added that the housing industry has been remarkably stable in recent years, with long-term home mortgage rates holding fairly steady. Sears is cutting its catalog merchandise distribution centers from 10 to 6 over the next 18 months. Sears says the closing will enable it to move merchandise through its system quicker. Stocks are lower in moderate trading. The Dow Jones Industrials a short while ago were down 2.50 to 2232.86. February gold's down 60 cents to 22.33. March silver is unchanged at 6.25. This is the Wall Street Journal report.
Making money isn't really that hard. In fact, you'll probably make more than $1 million before you retire. But it won't count for much if you don't plan for the future now. That's why Kemper Financial Services, Inc. is offering a free guide called Strategies to help you achieve your financial goals. Kemper's free guide gives you step-by-step advice on how to evaluate your current finances. Then it tells you what action you can take right now to help you achieve the goals you set, like setting up an affordable monthly investment plan, whether you have a little to invest or a lot. Strategies to help you achieve your financial goals can help you take charge of your financial future today. And best of all, it's free. Call toll-free 1-800-453-9500 now for Strategies to help you achieve your financial goals. Yours free from Kemper Financial Services, Inc. Kemper, there's never a bad time to make a good investment. So call 1-800-453-9500 now or anytime 24 hours a day. That's 1-800-453-9500.
Now the 970 WFLA Doppler forecast from meteorologist Jim Smith.
Blue skies across the area, but strong northerly winds continue to hold the temperature on the chilly side. This afternoon, look for considerable sunshine, but cool, with the highs reaching only 67 degrees. Tonight, clear and cold, with low readings dropping to the low 40s by early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, look for another sunny, bright day. Temperatures a little bit warmer, reaching into the low 70s. I'm meteorologist Jim Smith, and that's the exclusive Newswatch 8 Doppler forecast on News Radio 970 WFLA.
At 107 at the weather station, radar shows no rain, 50% relative humidity, 67 degrees in Venice. Indian Rock says 61, 63 in St. Petersburg and Clearwater, 66 in Tampa at News Radio 970 WFLA. Next news at 2 o'clock, bulletins at once. I'm Charlie Davis.
News Radio 970 WFLA.
Well, it certainly was an interesting first hour, wasn't it? I mean, you can say a lot of things about the Lassiter show. You can say an awful lot of things about Lassiter himself, but you can't say that the first hour was not, well, actually, it was the first 37 minutes, was not interesting. That is for sure. You can't say that no matter what. Welcome back, hour number 2 on a Monday, January the 23rd, 1989. Now, I'm about to tell you a true story. I am genuinely about to tell you a true story. I stumbled across, without even looking for them, I swear to you, I'm not looking for this stuff. I stumbled across three additional reviews of the film Talk Radio over the weekend. All three of them were convoluted. One of them got all kinds of weird stuff mixed up in it. I mean, he had Geraldo Rivera and Morton Downey as you know, the same thing as Barry Champlain. And of course, Geraldo and Downey basically have contrived shows. Everybody that's there is invited there. They know exactly what's going to be said, when it's going to be said, when they're going to them, who's going to follow, et cetera, which, you know, talk radio was nothing like that whatsoever. But nonetheless, that's beside the point. And I this is a little close to home, and I sat there and I said, you know, man, this isn't fair. I mean, it is not fair that we are blamed for what is out there in this world. It's not fair that we are blamed for the attitude, the mood in the country, the anger in people, the apathy in people, et cetera, et cetera. It is not fair. So I came in this afternoon, and believe me, I really gave some serious thought to this. I delivered about a 10-15 minute monologue, in essence saying the same thing, although, you know, a little bit more flowery, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to sit back and see what you guys want to talk about. Sit back and see what's important to you. You know, this is your show to do with whatever you want. You can make it as stupid or as intelligent, or as whatever in between as you want to make it. And, of course, the first call started out, towards the end of the rap, I said, if it's dumb, trite, boring, polite radio that you're interested in, go to TKN. I gave their call letters. Go to END. I gave their dial position. And, of course, my first call said he missed the third station there. They wondered if I would give the dial position again. Get lost. The last call dealt with over and over again, what, you don't believe there's no heaven or hell? You don't believe that? You don't believe that? You don't believe... Now, many people may have thought I was rude to the man, but I didn't start getting rude to him until he had said it 18 or 20 times. And somewhere in between, we had a call about this great scandal, I guess it was Pasco County, tremendous scandal up there where this female cop was converted to religion, and so she gave the names of all the people she had had oral sex with on the force. I wasn't one of them, so I don't have any particular interest in the story. And somewhere in between, there was a call concerning, do I think that Arsenio Hall or Pat Sajak is more popular? Like I said, it's but the problem is, you see, this is what the monologue was all about. No matter what, good, bad, or indifferent, I get the credit or the blame. Now, that first hour will be blamed on me. None of these people were set up. Not a one of them. I might also hasten to point out that during the course of the monologue, I mentioned 3 damned serious topics and had comments on all 3. I mentioned Bush going to Japan for Hirohito's funeral, which I found to be in rather poor taste, in the State Department saying that, Japan would be insulted if we didn't go. And I said, what are they going to do? Stop dumping their cheap products here? I also mentioned how fascinating it is that a city in Canada of 3 million plus people has 50-some murders a year, less than 300 armed robberies, and strict gun control. And was wondering if just, maybe there was some kind of correlation between the gun. And I also mentioned, what the hell was the third one? I know I mentioned the third one. Oh, well, take my word for it. I swear to you I did. I promise, I'm sure I did. Oh, yes. I questioned how much of a joy it must be for a young parent in this community to be trying to teach his children anti-violence and to listen to all of these circus going on concerning Bundy. And I get calls about Arsenio Hall. Now, I will be blamed for this. No two ways about it. But it's not my fault. It's your fault, Turkey, for sitting out there on your duff. Shame on you. 990-9352 in Hillsborough. 461-9352 in Pinellas. Let's see what the first call of the second hour brings. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello, Bob.
Yes.
Well, I guess the religion always gets some action going, I guess. I just wanted to confirm the idea of agnostic and atheistic.
The two don't go together, man.
Yeah, right. Okay. I just looked up in the dictionary, and agnostic means...
I know what they mean, man. They both mean... they don't mean the same thing at all.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wanting a little help with.
Mm-hmm.
To you, what does agnostic mean?
Ma'am, I have spent hundreds of hours discussing my religious views.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've heard them.
No, I'm kind of a new listener.
Oh, a new listener. Well, an agnostic man is somebody who has no proof one way or the other about a God.
Yeah, well, that's why what it says here is that you can't fathom it in your mind. You know what I'm saying? So you can't be an agnostic atheist, right?
That's right, man, because an atheist says there is no God.
Okay, so a person... Okay, enough of that. First of all,
Great.
When you, I agree with your idea about we're all going nowhere. People just can't realize that we're just like a plant. When we die, we go back to the earth, and that's the way it is. But here's the quandary. Are you sure that you want people to know this? Do you know it's our fiber?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure I want people to know the truth. I'm sure I want people to deal with the truth. If the best that can be done is to have people live a life of fantasy, then I want no parts of it.
Yeah, I guess that's right, because the one that jumps on the school building was the altar boy that found out that there might not be all the teachings that he learned. But he's the one that freaks out.
I mean, you don't want to live in a world full of people that only do you only do you good because they think they're going to get a reward at the end of their lives. You want to live in a world full of people that do you good because they know that's the right and proper thing to do.
Yeah. Well, utopia, yeah, I guess it'd be great. I don't know of any place that if they don't have rules with some kind of, reward or punishment system that'll work.
It's amazing, man. There are lots of them.
Wow. Yeah, I am very limited. Anyway, let's do, can you name me one before I want to go to about gun law in England?
Well, how about, let's see, a nice, great atheistic country like the Soviet Union.
Where?
The Soviet Union, an atheistic country.
Right.
There's nobody going to heaven there.
That's right. They don't like you to go to church there either.
And they seem to be able to have a murder rate lower than ours, and, little things like that.
Well, I was in England a couple times, and they're very hip with that, too. They find that religion is kind of a weakness to try and smooth over things that you have to do yourself. I mean, you can't just put your head in the sand and say, I'm going to go to heaven.
England has an official church.
Yeah, but there's a lot of young people that are getting away from it and going with the idea of the Soviets have got, they're going in the right direction. We can't keep this religious farce we have, built up through the years.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to slowly come down, and we have to be nice because that's our nature. It makes us feel good to be nice. Bad gets bad, and nice gets nice.
What was the point of the call?
Okay, well, I just want to know what agnostic was, first of all.
I thought you said you had already looked it up in the dictionary.
Yeah, but sometimes it's easier when someone puts it in their own terminology, and you help me out with that. Okay, now, number two, with England, do you know if they have less killings and murders as do the people in...
Yes, ma'am, they do.
They do, yeah. Okay, well, there's two proof in the pudding. I just wanted to throw that in there. They don't... Their bodies run after people with a little nightstick. They don't have murder.
Well, follow if you don't want to.
You know what, Bob? It's not hard.
Choose Bible.
It's not, Bob, please, I don't want you to cut me off.
It's not hard, ma'am, when you decide to discard the stuff that is difficult.
It's not difficult, Bob.
Do you own your own home, ma'am?
Okay. Yes, my husband and I, we own our own home.
Do you have a car?
Yeah.
You have 2 cars?
Yeah.
Do you have a riding lawnmower, maybe?
No.
Do you have any jewelry?
Very little.
Oh, but we have jewelry here. May I refer you again, ma'am, why I have to keep referring to these people to this damn chapter. They just don't read it. May I refer you, ma'am, to the Sermon on the Mount. You're storing your treasures up here on earth, aren't you, ma'am?
No, I'm not.
I beg your pardon?
The Bible doesn't say you don't...
I beg your pardon?
I beg your pardon. The Bible doesn't say that you can't have any material possessions. The Bible says... See, Bob, you don't believe in the Bible.
Well, I've got it. Ma'am, I just happen to have my copy right here in front of me. You said the Bible says you... Did you, ma'am, actually say to me that you can store up your treasures on earth?
I didn't say that. You did.
Ma'am, may I
you
beg...
said it.
No, ma'am. Jesus said it. Oh, these people that don't read the book.
Wait a minute.
How can you play the game if you don't know what the rules are? Ma'am, may I refer you...
No, may I just...
May I refer you to Matthew, ma'am, chapter 6, verse 19. Do not store up for yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up your...
Let me just tell you something, Bob. Can I just say...
Ma'am, are you going to try to tell me... Are you going to try to tell me what Jesus meant?
Can I tell you something,
Are you
Bob?
going to try to tell me what Jesus meant, ma'am, or are you going to accept what it says here in the book?
I do accept it, but see, you don't understand...
Then why don't you follow it?
You don't understand the Word of God.
Ma'am, if I don't understand the Word of God...
because you're not born again.
Hey, lady, I'm the one that can read. You're
not born again, Bob.
Ma'am, if I thought that there was this big Jesus in the sky who had left this very clear message to me, was going to come back any day now on a white horse with trumpets and angels and vials of snake venom and all this kind of good stuff. If I thought that this was true, I'll tell you this much. I would be following that book to the letter. I wouldn't take one chance.
Okay,
I would sell my second car. I would move closer to work. I'd get rid of my jewelry, and I sure as hell wouldn't store up any treasures here on earth. Ma'am, like I told you, you don't believe it.
when news happens in Tampa or anywhere in the Bay Area. Hear it first on News Radio 970 WFLA. Our newsroom never closes.
News Radio 970 WFLA. Tampa Bay.
Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Charlie Davis, News Radio 970 WFLA. Confession after confession from the lips of condemned killer Ted Bundy.
Serial killer Ted Bundy is spending the day in death row meetings with attorneys and investigators as the clock ticks toward his execution at dawn in Florida's electric chair. Bundy is due to die for the 1978 murder of a 12-year-old schoolgirl. Florida Department of Corrections spokesman Bob McMaster says Bundy now realizes his long appeal process may be near an end.
The people I've spoken with who have spent the last 48 hours with him said that his demeanor was generally negative, that he was subdued.
Bundy is due to have his final meal just 2 hours before he will be strapped into the electric chair. Rob Navius at the state prison, Stark.
In Pinellas County, a jury has recommended life in prison for Brian K. Smith, convicted of killing a man during a robbery at a steakhouse in Largo last August. Smith is 25, and if the judge goes along with the jury's recommendation, that's how many years he'll spend in prison before he becomes eligible for parole. Smith still faces charges from 2 other robbery murders. Tampa police say 21-year-old Michael Cummins just needed someone to talk to. The way he got their attention to his problem is by locking himself into the house at 3505 East 33rd Street and threatening suicide. Tampa police spokesman Steve Cole.
Oftentimes this is the type of thing that happens, and the key thing that we stressed to him is nobody wanted to hurt him. We weren't going to shoot him. Nobody else was going to hurt him. He wasn't going to go to jail. He just needed some medical help.
Cummins held police at bay for several hours this morning. He surrendered shortly before noon. Presidential support for right to life amplified. That story's next. 2:02 on News Radio 970 WFLA.
Well, it began exactly 1 week ago Friday. It's going to end tomorrow. You can shop it today. That's the news from Kane Furniture. Ladies and gentlemen, the clearance at Kane's will end tomorrow night at 10 p.m. $25 million. Total clearance. Everything. I mean, every item in every department at Kane Furniture at incredible clearance reductions. But tomorrow's the final day, the last 12 hours. From 10 tomorrow morning till 10 tomorrow night, you can join the Value Wives. You can shop it today and beat those crowds. But you must hurry. It ends tomorrow. No extensions can be offered. Up to $10,000 instant credit available. No payment till April 89. You can use Visa, MasterCard, Discover Card. Delivery's free. The clearance. Kane's. It ends tomorrow.
Located U.S. Highway 19 in St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Newport Richey, and in Tampa, across from East Lake Square Mall. You'll also find the same great values at Kane Save-On Furniture in Sarasota.
The president made a public appearance today by telephone over a loudspeaker.
I think the Supreme Court's decision in Roe versus Wade was wrong and should be overturned.
President Bush addressing an anti-abortion rally outside the White House, where the prevailing sentiment was an appeal to the Supreme Court to restore to the states the right to outlaw abortion. Affirmative action programs may have just suffered a major setback. In a 6-3 ruling today, the Supreme Court said that one in Richmond, Virginia is unconstitutional and that it discriminates against whites by reserving 30% of all construction contracts for minority businesses. The justices also ruled in a Florida case, the one involving Michael Riley of Pasco County, arrested in 1984 after a police helicopter spotted marijuana growing in his backyard. The High Court ruled that such police activity did not violate the right to privacy, even though police had no warrant. Well, here's something you won't find on the usual farm report. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement has issued a report on homegrown marijuana crops. 970 WFLA's Rick Flagg reports on this year's reapings.
The Department of Law Enforcement believes pot planting is a $50 million a year business in Florida. And while it's found in every county, Northwest Florida appears to be the most popular location. 358 people were arrested for this sort of farming last year, and authorities seized 134,794 pot plants. This report also points out the growers are getting pretty sophisticated with the use of greenhouses and time-released fertilizer. In Tallahassee, Rick Flagg, News Radio 970 WFLA.
And there's a new lady in the Bay Area you've got to meet.
She has close-set stripes and long cheek hair, and she weighs about 126 pounds.
That's Debbie Goodwin with the Lowry Park Zoo, talking about Tuca, the new Sumatran tiger that's taking up permanent residence in the zoo's Asian domain. Tuca comes to Tampa from Sumatra by way of the San Diego Zoo. The Florida Lottery is still waiting for the state's newest lotto millionaires to step forward. Computers show that 2 of the 18 million tickets sold for last Saturday's drawing are winners. One was sold in Lakeland, the other sold in Alachua County. The winners, whoever they are, will split about $9 million. The Wall Street Journal report with Joan Furstenberg is brought to you by ADP.
Oil prices have taken a temporary dive, retreating from their nearly $19 a barrel level reached last week. Oil analysts say this won't last for long since it's happening on technical factors, and that our oil and gas prices will be climbing again shortly. Crude oil in New York is down 74 cents to $17.65 a barrel. Businessland is trying a new tactic. It will rent its computers. Analysts say corporations are more likely to pick up on this than consumers, since they won't have to come up with the upfront money it takes to buy all the equipment. Stocks are going nowhere in moderate trading on weakness in the dollar, which has been the target of another round of intervention by the world's central banks. The Dow Jones Industrials a short while ago were down 2.68 to 2232.68. February gold's down 50 cents to 408.80. March silver is up a fraction to 6.25 an ounce. This is the Wall Street Journal report.
Miss Russell, your father's here.
Great, send him in.
Surprise! Flowers for your new office.
They're beautiful, Dad. Thanks.
Nice view. Your own PC?
Yes.
What's this? You're doing cost analysis?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. When I was a payroll manager, I was so busy preparing paychecks, I never had time for anything else.
That's because you didn't use ADP.
They make the difference?
Absolutely. All we do is send them our payroll data right through our personal computers, and it's done. Frees me up for other responsibilities.
They get it right?
Yes.
On time?
On time. Trust me, Dad. ADP does my payroll faster, easier, and less expensively than I can myself.
I never knew you were so smart. Guess the surprise is on me.
And so is lunch. Let's go.
Whether you have just a few employees or 10,000, ADP is best for all your payroll needs. For more information, phone 1-800-328-2828. 1-800-328-2828. ADP, the way America gets paid.
Now here's the 970 WFLA Doppler forecast from meteorologist Jim Smith.
Blue skies across the area, but strong northerly winds continue to hold the temperature on the chilly side. This afternoon, look for considerable sunshine, but cool, with the highs reaching only 67 degrees. Tonight, clear and cold, with low readings dropping to the low 40s by early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, look for another sunny, bright day. Temperatures a little bit warmer, reaching into the low 70s. I'm meteorologist Jim Smith, and that's the exclusive Newswatch 8 Doppler forecast on News Radio 970 WFLA.
207 at the weather station, and radar checks clear. 51% relative humidity. 69 degrees now on Treasure Island. 68 in Plant City. St. Petersburg and Clearwater have 67. It's also 67 in Tampa on News Radio 970 WFLA. Next news with Don Richards at 3 o'clock. Bulletins at once. I'm Charlie Davis.
Welcome back. 8 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock, third and final hour for this Monday, January the 23rd, 1989. Kind of a post-full moon show. It didn't start out that way. I didn't encourage it. I didn't even realize. But it just seems to have worked into a post-full moon show. My goodness, how the calls dropped off during the newscast. Talk about drop-off city. Holy cow. Let me hasten to give you the telephone numbers. 461-9352, 461-WFLA. Hillsborough 990-9352-990-WFLA. A very, very brief rundown on what is transpiring this afternoon. I saw a lot of reviews over the weekend of talk radio. Okay, I'm not talking about talk radio, the film, or the business, or anything else, but nonetheless, it triggered in me all of these reviewers saying, "Oh, it's the talk radio host's fault. They're these terrible, evil people that bring out the worst, and they're just awful, awful, awful scumbags, and they should all be euthanized or something." And I thought, wait a second, no, that's not fair, damn it, it's not me, it's you guys. So I came in, I did 10, 15-minute monologue, and in essence said, look, it's your gig, it's your show. Take it seriously, take it frivolously. Be smart, be stupid. But it's your show. This is the way it is. And for those of you who have been along, basically spineless cowards who sit there and never take part in the show, but sit there and observe. Well, you know what has happened. And those of you who weren't here for the first 2 hours, hey, serves you right. Clearwater, you're on the air at 970 WFLA. Hi, Clear. Fine, great.
I'm fairly new to Florida, originally from New Jersey, the Pompton Lakes area, graduate of Rutgers on the banks of the Old River Tam. Now, I've got a question for you. Was it ever established that Florida death row inmate Ted Bundy and a Tampa resident John Rosas were homosexual lovers?
I don't know.
Okay, you're a homosexual, aren't you, Bob?
Are you?
No, I hear that you're into Santeria.
That I went to where?
Santeria, you know,
I'm
that
familiar
devil.
with it.
That devil worshiper. You're a devil worshiper.
Oh, that I went to. It's there. You don't go to Santeria. You practice it.
Well, that's what I said. Sadly, Bob, I believe you're a communist faggot.
Well, there's a boy looking for a date. Another disappointed caller. St. Pete. Hi there, St. Pete. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
How are you, Mr. Lassiter?
About the same as I was the last time I was asked.
I bet you get asked that a lot. I was first-time caller to your show. I've been listening for, at least a year or so.
Then, sir, you know I get asked about 40 times a day. How am I? As a matter of fact, if you've been listening for a year or so, you know I actually even went to the trouble of making up a tape to respond to people who just mindlessly ask me how I am every time they call.
That's exactly what I just did. I did it without thinking.
That's right. You're lucky that I don't have my tape handy.
Well, listen, a couple things. One thing, I really enjoy your show, and I'm totally 100% behind you. But I got a question for you about, since y'all have taken on the Paul Harvey newscast bit. What was it that he was saying this morning in Boston, I believe, and they've done it in one other town, that they have a van going around that's dishing out methadone to the junkies? I don't quite understand how they could do that, just drive around and give heroin out.
Well, methadone isn't heroin, sir. Methadone is a
well, I know.
synthetic.
I'm on the program here in Tampa. I know all about it. I've been on it for 7 years. And I don't see how you could have a van going around the streets giving it out when you've got to prove that you have a problem and this and that. I mean,
well, I would think most people who would accept it would just, in asking for it, prove that they have a problem.
Yeah, but do you understand what I'm saying? The way the thing made it sound was like, oh, hell, let's get high for the day. Let's catch the van, you know? It made it sound like the ice cream man was coming around the block.
Well, first of all, I didn't hear the report. Secondly, so therefore, the best I can do is to speculate as to what is probably going on.
Well, that's what I was...
Well, a van it may be, and well, it may be that it's a hell of a lot easier to get it from the van, but I don't think that they're just driving up and down the streets tossing out packets of methadone.
Well, yeah, it's a liquid, but or the discus, but whatever. But
you know, I don't think they've got a sign on the side of the van that says, you know, show us your works, and that's tossed off as the methadone.
Right, you know, show us a needle hanging out of your arm, and we'll give you a dose.
It's got to be more complicated than that.
Well, yeah, but I was just kind of curious, because if you listen to his tape, you know, if you have a chance to, because I have no other way of finding, you know, it won't be in the newspaper. I bought the Tampa, the Miami, and the Atlanta today to see if there was anything in the paper about it, and I haven't been able to find anything in the paper about it. And that was, you know, there's no other way for me to find out what he meant by it. I'm going to watch the nightly news to see if they have anything on it. But the other question I wanted to ask you was, I called the other day to try and catch you, is I would like to get the number of that doctor or whoever that got you to quit smoking, because I've got a group of 5 people or more, and I'd really
Well,
like...
I'll tell you what, the commercial's coming up in about 10 minutes.
Oh, is it?
But that's okay. I'll give you the number anyway. It's 787...
787...
5530.
30. Okay, is that Tampa, St. Peter? Where?
Clearwater. It's a Pinellas number, 787-5530.
Well, thanks very much, Bob. You do a good job, and keep it up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Be good. 990-9352 in Hillsborough. 461-9352 in Pinellas. St. Petersburg. Hi there, Saint. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, I'm doing great. How you doing? Oh, never mind. Don't answer that. There was a lady that called talking about storing up treasures in heaven. And I think you got the wrong idea on what that scripture means.
No, the wrong idea, sir. I can read it. I know exactly what it says.
I read it, too.
Great.
And what it means is,
so you see, sir,
it's your priority of
sir,
what...
Sir, you see, but there's a difference. I am not so arrogant as to assume I know what it means. I will take it for what it says.
I am, too.
Well, obviously you're not, sir, but go ahead.
Okay, you know, it's like, what are your priorities? What's more valuable to you, your Lincoln or your love of God? If it came a choice between you having that Lincoln, or if God told you to get rid of it and buy yourself a Yugo...
Sir, it's not at all what it says in here.
Yeah,
Sir, I will be delighted to read it to you. Apparently you're not familiar with it. Do not store up for yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourself treasures in heaven where moth and rust do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. It doesn't say anything, sir, about unless.
So what kind of treasure in heaven are you storing up? Give me an example of one of these treasures.
I don't subscribe to the Bible. I don't store up treasures in heaven. There is no heaven, sir, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, then what is your purpose for being here? Why are you on Earth? What are you here for?
Basically to annoy you with his radio program.
No. In other words,
what am I here for, sir? I was put here by something.
So if you have no purpose for being here, what is the reason?
Sir, I do have a purpose for being here. It's to make the place a little bit better from what I found it. That's my purpose, sir. Isn't that good enough for you?
Where did you get that idea?
From myself, sir.
Oh, you jumped that up yourself?
Yes, sir.
Now,
yes, sir.
what kind of background?
It only seems
What kind of background did you come out of to dream that up?
It seems reasonable to me that I should leave a place better than I found it. Doesn't it seem reasonable?
Why?
Oh, that doesn't seem reasonable to you?
If there's no purpose for being here, what's the difference?
It doesn't seem reasonable to you, sir, to leave a place better than what you found it?
Why, though, Bob, if there's no...
What kind of a pig are you, sir?
If there's no God, what does it matter?
What kind of a pig are... What do you mean if there's no God? It doesn't... Sir, there will be generations after me. Sir, it's for the generations that come after me. It's for my children, sir. It's for my grandchildren. Don't you care about yours?
Why should I if there's no God? If there's no purpose for them being here, who cares?
You don't care about your own offspring?
Why should I? There's no God. If there's no God...
pig you are, sir.
No, buddy.
Oh,
You're the
sir,
pig.
if I was God, I wouldn't want any parts of you.
Oh, now
sir,
we're talking about... now we're bringing God into it.
If I was God...
We're bringing God into it, okay.
If I was God, sir...
Hey, we're bringing
Take
God
his volume down. We'll just humiliate this SOB. If I was God, sir, you are the very person I would not let into my kingdom. Because you, sir, are only going to be good if there's a reward. You only want to be decent if there's a reward. Sir, the phrase subhuman pig was meant for you. And, sir, not only are you a subhuman pig, but you are so stupid as to keep talking what I'm talking, and the audience, sir, can't hear a word you're saying. And now I just hung up on you. Oh, gosh. Oh, St. Petersburg. No, that was the one I just hung up on, right? Okay. Largo, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello. This
Hello.
is George.
Yeah.
And someone just called in a few calls back, and she's blaming this, a lot of this violence and stuff on these old westerns and stuff. You know, the old western movies.
Well, I believe it was a gentleman, and it was almost an hour ago, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was watching TV yesterday, and I seen these guys down in Miami, these policemen, running around with their guns and that. Now, well, I hate to go back that far, but, I mean, you know, like that, but you know what I'm talking about?
Do you have your teeth in?
Yeah. Okay, let me have it. I want to tell you, Lassiter, before I hang up or you hang up, I goofed it. I'm getting to understand you. And I don't know. I don't know whether that's good or not.
What is it that you think you're understanding?
Well, I just heard you on there raving about God stuff and all this and that. And, and I do agree.
Sir, are you aware that there are 2 additional radio stations in this market that are programmed exclusively for you?
Yes.
That you do not